Welcome back, guys. What we have here is our 2008 Civic. We painted this one on the channel it's probably been about 4 years from now. It's one of my older videos. The production quality wasn't the best, but you know, we're getting better. Anyway, so this is what we have. We painted it just a stock color, the taffeta white, and we put 3 coats of PPG DC 4000 clear on here. After I painted it, I wet sanded the bucket that had a lot of dirt in it by not being a great painting environment. It's got some dings and road rash, but that's what happens. To be expected. Anyway, car's in pretty good shape. When I initially wet sanded and buffed the car after I painted it, I was kind of in a hurry. Wasn't trying to get it perfect. You know, it's just a daily, so basically, we're just gonna come back through and just give the car a pretty quick compound and polish. So the first thing I'm gonna do, we've already washed the car. I'm gonna go over it with the entire car with some clay, with a clay bar, and then we'll clean it back off. Then we'll start with a compound, then we'll move to our polish, and I'll show you that each step as we progress. I'm probably just gonna focus on one panel. It's gonna get really repetitive. It's gonna be the same on all the panels, but I'll probably just do the hood for demonstration purposes. And then you'll get to see the rest when we're done. But we're gonna jump right into it. First thing we'll do, like I said, is wash it, which you already done, and we're gonna clay it. First, let's kind of just get a look of it and see how it looks. Gonna get my sunlight here, so we can kind of hopefully get a decent look at it here in the garage. Maybe not. That white's really hard to pick up anything. And the car don't look bad. It's just, you know, you'll see some scratching there, maybe. But anyway. But I mean, it really. I'll be honest with you, there's probably not be much difference on the camera, because it's not like we're dealing with really oxidized paint or anything. But we're still gonna clean it up, and wanting to clean it up. That's what we're gonna do. So let's jump right into hitting it with our clay. What we're gonna be using is our clay and a clay lube, which you can use detail, anything like that. Let's go and get started, and I'll walk you through the process. Just gonna wet it down a little bit. And basically, I'm just gonna work the clay into the area. So basically all we're trying to do is just pull the contaminants off the surface. And just, so people can overcomplicate this as much as they want, but it's not a real not a whole lot to it. It's just working it back and forth, and you'll be able to feel kind of when the contaminants let go. Surface will get smooth, because like beforehand, your hand can kind of doesn't glide across it really good, but once you get the contaminants off, nice and smooth. Your hand or a rag, just glide right over it. But that's what we're looking for, is to get these contaminants off. Because when we go to polishing, we don't want to be agitating those contaminants down into the paint. We want a clean slate. Then we're going to wipe it off and kind of check our progress, but we should be good on the hood. Now we just gotta do the rest of the car. So now we're gonna get into the polishing process. So let's look at the tools that we use. So first off, we'll be using a long throw DA polisher. This is just a affordable brand one. With a rag, we're using a microfiber pad, and we're using just, I'd call this like a standard compound. I've got some that's more aggressive and less aggressive than this. This is just a standard compound. So we'll come back After we compound the whole vehicle to our liking, we'll come back with the polish. But for right now, this is what we're going to be using. So I like to use my pad on here. I'll apply a little bit of compound. I'll wet it with a little bit of detailer, or like our clay lubricant. I'll just spritz a little bit for a little extra lube, and then we'll use it on the panel. I'm gonna go ahead and get the whole car wiped down, then we're gonna jump right into it. So what I like to do is put 3 or 4 dots on here. I like to wet it just a little bit. I'll run it at about mid speed. So basically I like to work a small section. And with the level of this, the car's not terrible. I'm really just trying to clean it up, get a little bit of clarity in the paint, just remove some light defects. So I'll just basically, I'm gonna go over everything twice. I'll go one direction, then I'll come back another direction. And generally that'll take care of what I need to. So I'm going to pop the hood a little bit. That way I won't be hitting this edge on this fender. Okay, with this being white and the paint wasn't in bad shape to start with, so midway around right here is where it splits. So if you kind of look at the reflection of the light on the panel, so once you get about midway, you start to see that haze and swirling. Once you get back over here, you see how clear it is. Oh, so I could go further with this. And this hood isn't perfect. When I painted this car in not the best environment at all. So, you know, there's a lot of trash in there. There's a lot of moisture in the lines, but so the paint job isn't perfect. Some more wet sand would have fixed a lot of that, but it wasn't going for perfection. So hopefully you can see a little bit of the difference there. Like I said, it's not substantial because it wasn't really that bad to start with. And I'm not spending a lot of time. I'm not trying to get it perfect, but just trying to get into that light haze off and the just the little bit of light swirling and just any light scratching and stuff. And it doesn't. You don't think it will make that big difference, will it? On white, it's not as substantial as it was be on a dark color. But once you get the whole car done and you stand back, you know, there will be a noticeable difference in like the overall gloss of it, because you're getting rid of those light imperfections. You don't think they really add up, but they do, and on the whole of the vehicle, it does make a big difference. So maybe not so much of this because it's not so bad, but in general. So basically, I'm going to repeat this on the entire vehicle. So I'm gonna be here a while. So as soon as I get done with that, then we'll come back for the polishing process, which isn't going to be much different, but we'll still go over it as well. And then just hopefully, like I said, this isn't a great representation of it, being that it's not really in that bad shape, but hopefully you can kind of get a feel of what's going on with it. It's not a complicated process, but it is time consuming. So I'll check back in with you when we get the rest of the car compounded, and then we'll jump into the polishing. All right, so the whole car has been compounded, and I actually went ahead and polished the whole car too, minus the hood. That way we can show you a demonstration on it. But when I polish, I'm using we use the same DA polisher, but I'm going to be using a different pad and obviously a different product. So I'm using an orange foam pad. There's different things you can use. This is just what I like to use. I'm using the polish. The one I'm using, there's different ones out there. I use polish, and I'm using the same, just a lubricant for the pad. I put a little bit of material on there. I like to give a little spritz of lube. All right, so I'm still running the machine about mid-speed, and I put a little bit of pressure on it, not much. The product in the pad is going to do its job. You don't have to put a whole lot of pressure on it, but we're going to run it the same way. Now I run like a 3x3 section or whatever, one way, and then I go back over it. So I'm doing it twice. Now in some situations you might have to go back over it again. It really depends. It's going to be hard to see in here. The polishing stage is really going to be, you really see that when you get out in sunlight. We've got a sunlight simulation light, but with white, it's really going to be hard to pick up on camera. But with polish, with your compound, on something like this that's already glossy, we're not wet sanding anything. Basically what your compound is doing is cutting off any defects, your minor scratches, swirls, things like that, water spots. Your polish is your compound is going to take care of that. And then what your polish does is basically just refine that, because a byproduct of the compound is usually like some hazing, stuff like that. Sometimes you probably wouldn't see it in here in the garage, but when you get in the sunlight, you'd be able to see maybe some hazing or so. So the polish basically just refines the compound, and you just do that until you get to a point where you've got clarity is an acceptable for you. You've got, this is a standard polish. This finishes out really well. I used to use a different system. We had compound, a polish, and then for dark or stubborn colors, you would have to use an ultra fine polish. So that added a third step. With this system, it's not really, I hadn't had that trouble even on dark colors like black. So this is a good polish, but it depends on what system you're using, and the pad makes a difference as well. So yeah, we're gonna jump into it, and I'm gonna finish up this hood, and then we'll just do a little walk around on it to see the end result. All right, so I just wiped the whole car down with some quick detailer. So we're gonna check it out real quick. Just keep in mind it might have a little bit of residue on there from the detailer, but let's check it out anyway. Okay, it looks good to me. So, you know, with anything, go as crazy as you want to with this. This car just had minor defects, so just this quick, you know, one hit of the compound, one hit of the polish, and I'm calling it good. But, you know, you can go as deep into it as you want. But it's a daily, just want to clean it up a little bit. It's like a 5-year-old paint job. Just wanted to bling it up a little from washing, and might have been a few spots maybe when I initially done a cut and buff on it that I missed. So just want to clear those up and just kind of rejuvenate it, make it look good, and I think we accomplished that. So if there's anything you want to know or any questions, concerns, comments, whatever, let me know, and then we'll see you on the next one. Appreciate it.